It's the Pixel 8a now versus the Pixel 6a, and more of a conversation that we had with the Pixel 7a. There are some legitimate reasons, if you have a 6a, why you'd want to upgrade a little bit early and pick yourself up an 8a. I think the 8a is objectively a better phone. It improved on so many areas of the Pixel 6a, including some glaring ones that I really would have loved to have seen be a little bit better on the Pixel 6a. But then the Pixel 6a was just if the Pixel 6a were a watch, it would be a piece unique, a one-off, never seen since from Google. It's nothing like the 7a, it's nothing like the 8a, it was nothing like the 5a. It was really its own thing. It was a phone that Google stripped away all the stuff that you didn't need, gave you a fantastic engine in the original Tensor, and let you have that kind of power, performance, and camera at a price that you really hadn't seen before. $449, I understand, but this phone lived the majority of its life sub $400, and most of the people that picked one up, especially if you pick one up a few months after release, paid under $350. And under $350, the Pixel 6a will go down in history as one of the best budget phones of all time when you think about the value for money that you got at that price point. Now, that being said, if you had one for a couple years now, if you're looking to trade one in, if you're on a carrier, if you got one on like a carrier deal and you're saying, hey, I could throw this in here and pick up a 8A for like $5 a month or something like that, is it worth the upgrade? I think so. We'll go over those areas in a moment. However, you paid for this unlocked. You're maybe looking to get one of these, but you kind of want to save some money. Link in the description for both. The Pixel 6a you could get renewed for like $190. I wouldn't pay $300 at this point. I would seriously, if your budget's $300 and you really want a Pixel, try to snag a really good deal on a 7a, or wait a long time for the 8a. But don't buy a Pixel 6a new at this point for $300. $190, you want to get one renewed. Amazon, you got the great return policy. Go ahead. I think that's actually a pretty good deal. We'll talk about why in a moment. But if you're looking at new, you might want to err on the side of picking up a 7a or an 8a. So let's talk about the differences. Pretty glaring ones. Obviously the design. If you like the boxier design that they've had since the Pixel 6, you're going to like the 6a. If you like kind of the rounded design that they've gone to, there's like a transition period, right? The Pixel 8 Pro was kind of the in-between between these two devices, and now we've kind of gone to this, and it seems like the Pixel 9 is going to side here. So the design is what it is. I mean, the bones are the same, metal frame, plastic back, so the kind of guts or the core of what the design is the same. It's just the actual aesthetic of it is slightly different. Now, here's the biggest thing that you're going to want. A lot of people had a problem with the fingerprint sensor. I did not have as much issue with the fingerprint sensor on the 6a as others. Especially, maybe that was because, now this is going to be biased here, because I had just come off of the Pixel 6. And if you remember this channel years ago, we used to absolutely destroy the Pixel 6. And that fingerprint sensor was a disaster. So maybe by comparison, the 6a didn't feel that bad. It is a different sensor than they used on the Pixel 6. I think it was a software thing. Over time, it's gotten better. No real issues. So if you want to think about that, that's fine. But displays, obviously the Pixel 8a is a remarkably better display. Brighter display, colorful display, poppier display. You get the 120 hertz, which everybody moaned about for the Pixel 6a only having 60 hertz. So if the display has bothered you for years on this device, then maybe that's a reason why you'd pick yourself up an 8a and kind of enjoy one of the better Google panels in years. The Pixel 8 Pro, that Super Actua stuff and now just the regular Actua on the 8a was a game changer for Google. If they can get the rest of their act together with pricing and devices and releases and software updates and all the rest of it, they would really have something. Because for me, my biggest complaint for years on devices, you go back, I have videos on the Pixel 4 XL. You go all the way back. The display, too dim, too dull, just really set the phone back. Not the case anymore with the Pixel 8a. Really bright, saturated, excellent display, and super smooth with that 120 hertz refresh rate. The other reason why you might want to upgrade between these two devices, battery life. They did their best, their level best, to make the Pixel 6a work with battery life. The original Tensor for the first year, literally the first year, was awful on battery life. Not very good at all. You were getting 5.5 hours, 5 hours of screen on time before this device was a paperweight. And it's not like the Pixel devices in general, still to this day, are really fast recharges. You can't just, oh, man, I'm getting to the end of the day. I want to go out tonight. Let me pop this on the charger for a half hour and get myself another 40, 50%. No. Not going to happen with a Pixel, right? So the battery life did make a significant difference. Not saying this is the beast. The 8A is the beast that the 8 Pro is. It's not. It's not that, 7.5, 8-hour phone. But it is well over 6.5. And if you're careful, you can kind of stretch that. So that's something to consider. If the battery life has really bugged you on the Pixel 6a, it might be worth it to upgrade to a Pixel 8a. But keep in mind that gap. It's a huge gap. It's like $300. So this is more, there's two different conversations, as always, with these devices. One, if you don't own either of these, then budget's going to be the main consideration. Budget and future-proofing are going to be the main consideration. If you have the extra money and you're going to keep it for a lot of years, the Pixel 8a is going to be the better deal over the next 5 years. If you're, if your budget is tight, $200, $300, and you're looking for a phone to get you through the next 2 or 3 years, the Pixel 6a is going to be the better deal. But if you have a Pixel 6a, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. So if those things, if the display bothered you, if the battery life bothered you, and I really don't feel like you're going to be having any sort of performance crunch right now. I really have liked the performance still on my Pixel 6a. I mean, gaming, it was never the best on Tensors, period, ended. It's not going to be a high-level stuff, but it's still plenty smooth for my usage. All the apps work fine. You're still getting a lot of stuff. Circle to search is on here, so you can kind of hold the bar, and you get, circle to search, and you go on here. So you're not getting, meanwhile, you're not going to be getting the same amount of support. Obviously, 7 years here. You got 3 more years of support over here, but that's only one more major upgrade of Android on the Pixel 6a. So you get Android 15, but then you're going to get 2 years of security updates after that, which is still pretty good for that price range. Still very good. 5 years for what you paid is not bad whatsoever, but you're getting the full 7 years, end-to-end, software, and major Android upgrades, all the rest of it. But that's to show you. So you're not going to get Gemini Nano over here, okay? But if the AI stuff doesn't interest you, then you pick up a nice device for cheap, or you keep it. You still get the Pixel features that you love, like circle to search, magic, whatever, all the rest of it. But just understand that the Pixel 8a is really the future of where Google wants to go with its AI stuff. So just know in the next year or so, you're going to be starting feeling a lot more left behind with your Pixel 6a than you will with your 8a, which is going to be at the forefront for quite a while now with that Tensor G3 and 8 gigs of RAM. So that's 2 extra gigs of RAM. So keep that in mind as well. That's a significant difference going forward for apps. 6 gigs is perfectly fine right now in 2024. Next year, the year after that, as these apps take up more space or whatever, get more demanding, you want more of them open at once, or the system UI demands more caching and all the rest of it, you're going to want that extra 2 gigs of RAM. So that's really where the conversation lies. Camera, you're going to be relatively the same. It's the software, it's the computational guts underneath it that really make the difference on the camera. So I'm not going to jump up and down there. There are some improvements with the modem here. I never really had a big problem with my modem on the Pixel 6a. I know a lot of people did. But, it's a Tensor on either end. And for me, the 8A, good signal, but the 6A had good signal as well. So I wouldn't really worry about that. It's mostly the display and the battery life. If you're perfectly fine and happy with your display and battery life on your 6A, hold on to it because you got a phenomenal deal. So milk every last bit out of that phone, every last dollar that you spend on that phone, because this is one of the best budget phones of all time. So take that to the max. However, if you're thinking about one today, if you're looking, if the budget's a little flexible, you might want to pick up an 8A instead because it's going to give you more into the future. And if you're somebody who's buying this phone and you want it for 4 or 5 years, which plenty of people do, the 8A is going to be the way to go because the Pixel 6a is going to be a little long in the tooth, going to get the battery life, whatever, but it's mostly going to be out of service support and not going to get the latest and greatest features in the next 4 or 5 years. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.